chaos for cross-border travel in the coming days. More than 9,000 Canada Border Service workers will be in a position to strike this Thursday. The union is beginning mediation talks with the government today. Workers are pushing for higher wages in line with other law enforcement agencies. The majority of frontline border officers are considered essential, so they wouldn't be able to walk off the job. But the job action could still mean major delays at the border. CTV's Christina Tenagalia is joining me now with more. Christina, good morning to you. So what's at issue with these workers? Let's begin there.
Okay, so Marcia, there's a couple things. And you know, when it comes to labor disputes and collective bargaining, we're hearing a lot of similar issues over the years. Pension being one, technology taking over people's jobs. That's a concern for people in a number of sectors. And this is the same for border workers across the country. They also want pay parity. Essentially, they want to be paid the same in line with other law enforcement officials. So that's something that's top of mind. But keep in mind here, and this is something important to note, that these workers are considered essential workers, or at least according to the Treasury Board, 90% of frontline border officials are designated as essential, which means they can't stop working during a strike. However, there are things they can do to sort of slow things down when you take a look at a work to rule scenario. There are questions surrounding that. According to the Treasury Board, they can't these border officials, you know, at border crossings across the country, whether it be land, air, or marine, they cannot do anything that is essentially intentionally slows down border traffic, but they can essentially follow the book and do everything that is required of them to carry out their job. So, for example, if a border officer, you know, you're traveling, let's say, to the U.S. here from Canada, if normally he or she would ask maybe 3 questions, perhaps he or she asks 10 or 11 or whatever what is acceptable within the mandate of their job. Certainly that would slow things down from a traffic standpoint. One associate professor of labor studies at McMaster University said, you know, if the government wanted to take action against some of these border workers saying, you know, what you're doing in terms of strike action and work to rule and slowing things down is illegal, it would be challenging, because essentially what the union would say is our officers are following the book and doing their job. And if that's disruptive, oh, well, I mean, they're following the rules. Gets tricky.
It does get tricky. Okay, so what are we watching then for today? Because they're in a position that they could strike, but the mediation is now underway, Christina.
Yeah, so today's mediation, the two sides, or I should say the union is in a strike position as of Thursday. In saying that, though, you know, both sides are committed to good faith bargaining and appear to be hopeful that a deal can be reached. In saying that, though, of course, you know, nobody wants a disruption at the border. When we take a look at goods and services, that can impact, I believe the number is $2.5 billion. When we take a look at the impact it could have on the economy. So $2.5 billion a day in goods crosses the border. So imagine the impact on the economy. We're not just talking about tourists crossing the border who are going, man, this is slowing down my trip to the U.S. or re-entering Canada. This could have an economic impact, and it could have a detrimental impact on the economy. So obviously both sides are interested in arriving at some kind of agreement, which is the case really in any kind of labor dispute. In saying that, though, a few years back when there was similar work to rule job action that was underway, according to one union representative, it almost brought sort of border operations to a halt, or certainly slowed things down. So that is the latest. Remember today that the two sides are in mediation, so there is still hope that this strike, and I'm going to call it a strike sort of in quotation marks, because essentially 90% of these workers here can't strike, but two sides are hopeful that a strike could be averted.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
CTV's Christina Tenagalia, please keep us posted on developments. Thanks. Okay.